First of all, guys, I appreciate being here. My name is Mike Hardy, and I'm going to tell a bit of my story. And the topic is life-work balance intentionally. And it's not work-life balance. So there, you can see up on the screen what's important to me and what I want to talk about for us as men is how to get your head right and your habits right. Okay? So we're going to talk about developing mental health resilience. We're going to talk about how to weaponize and create a bulletproof mindset. And we're going to talk about how to create life-work balance. And I think what's important for all of us, there's a lot of anxiety that exists in this world. And so the goal is to develop and build and live a non-anxious life, okay? If we're going to have impact with our world, our family, our business, then we cannot have anxiety that's overtaking us. So that's going to be the theme. Sound good? Okay, cool. I want each of you guys to stand up because we're going to do a little bit of an exercise first before I get into this. So stand up. Have any of you guys seen The Karate Kid? Okay. Do you know Mr. Miyagi? We are going to do an exercise called the Miyagis, and this is going to be very relevant later in the talk. So what are the Miyagis? The Miyagis are, you're going to take your hands and you're going to put them together just like this, and we are going to rub our hands together with intensity for 90 seconds straight, and I'm going to need a timer. So can one of you guys in the front row, maybe somewhere over here, you got a timer for me? Just, okay. So when we get down to, we're going to count down at 30 and then at 10. So, Miyagis, you guys ready? Let's go. Start. And I want you advanced folks, I want you to raise it over your head, okay? If you haven't exercised in a while, you can be down here, that's fine. But let's get them up there. And this is going to seem pretty easy, and you guys are like, what are we doing? This doesn't make any sense at all. And you're going to start to feel about 30 seconds in that maybe this is a little harder than you thought. Okay, so I think we're probably getting close to about 25, 30 seconds now. Keep going. More friction, guys. Come on. Some of you guys are wimping out a little bit. How are we doing on this side? This side's doing better. I like you guys over here. All right, raise them up. There we go. Chris, how are we doing on time? 35 seconds. Anyone feeling it yet? All right, good. Good. We're just getting started. A little more pressure, a little more pressure. Come on, higher and more pressure. Let's see what this feels like. All right, I know your shoulders are hurting now. I'm feeling it, and I do these. All right, we're not even at 60 seconds yet. Maybe we're halfway. Go ahead. If you need a breather, you can do this for a second. You can do that. All right, we'll bring it back up. We're at 60 seconds. All right, home stretch. This is the last 100 meters. Some of you guys, if you need to get carried, lean on a friend. All right, finish strong, guys. Like all things in life, we need to finish strong. Where you at? Let's go. Finish strong. Come on, give it to me. Count down from 10, Chris. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, give yourself a round of applause. All right, you feeling that? Okay, have a seat. So, you just, in 90 seconds, completely changed your state. Wherever you were mentally 90 seconds ago, where are you now? You're in a much better spot. I don't think we realize as human beings the power we have to be able to take 100% control up here. Okay, we go through a lot of things in life. What am I going to talk about today? First, I'm going to talk about this. The concept is level up. So this is my story of creating a system to help protect me from me. Okay? And it's going to be a framework that each of you can follow and implement all of it or a little bit, doesn't matter. So I want to ask you a question because I've noticed over time that the outside is always going to be a reflection of the inside over time. So the question is, how do we win on the inside, the inner game? Question for you. I want you to think about two different versions of you. I want you to think about the level 10 version of you compared to the unintentional version of you. Okay, we're here to become a better man, and each of us have different versions. And we can show up one day and we just sort of react and exist and get through life, and we can show up another day and we are on it. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise, and you're going to close your eyes and you're going to picture a time in your life where you are level 10. What is level 10? You're healthy, you're balanced, you're free, you're at peace. Maybe you're just like weaponized physically, doesn't matter, but close your eyes and I want you to get a picture and hold it in your mind of you remembering yourself, and maybe it's today, maybe it's a time in the past, of that level 10 version of you of what it looks like. Okay, see that person? Keep your eyes closed. And now I want you to think of the version of you that is not showing up as you should. And maybe it's level 7, maybe it's level 5, maybe it's level 1, doesn't matter. But picture that version of you, whatever level it is, that level 5 version existing through life, and who you see and what they look like and how they show up. Okay? All right, open your eyes. What'd you see? You saw somebody you were proud of, and you saw somebody you weren't proud of. Okay? So, why am I sharing this? There's a saying I heard which was, hell begins the day the man you could have been meets the man that you are. Okay? Kind of sobering. Hell begins the day the man, the person, the version you could have been meets the version you are. And the question is, how different are those two people? How different are they? Okay? So, I set a goal years ago. Like, we always hear this earlier, what's the top 1%? What is the top 1%? And I thought it was really interesting because top 1%, you can kind of quantify maybe in business. I'm a businessman, so it's like, okay, you can look at it from income or from, production, whatever your respective business is. Athletically, you can do it. You can kind of say, okay, like if I want to be in the top 1% athletically, you can sort of quantify that. But can you do that? How about like in the family? And how about spiritually? Like it's a little bit nebulous. So anyway, I started thinking like, why, something bothered me quite a bit. It was, why are there so many folks that maybe they're just killing it in one area of life, but the rest is just kind of a mess? It didn't make sense to me, all right? The business guy that's just doing phenomenal, but he's just, second heart attack. Or the guy that's just ripped in the gym at all times, but he can't even afford the gas to get there. Like there's just this disconnect. And so the question is there a way to set up a system and a platform and a structure to be able to not let one part of our life drive off a cliff? Okay? We are all wired as individuals to be excellent in certain areas, and we have other areas that we need to shore up and protect ourselves. So, let's get into this. A little bit about me. I grew up actually quite poor. And so my earliest memories were living in a trailer, me and my two sisters in the far end of the trailer. My folks were in the other side, and just, we didn't have any money, but we were, healthy, happy family. But it just kind of like reshaped my view, as my dad did really well over the course of his life. In fact, my dad's my hero. He's phenomenal, PhD, MBA, did really well over the course of his lifetime. But he taught me something. He said, Mike, question everything, think through everything, never get stuck in groupthink, never leave your brain at the door. I don't care what it is, but always make sure that you are working with a level of healthy reason to be able to just make good decisions in life. And I thought it was interesting. In fact, this goes back to a conversation Chris and I had, I want to say maybe 15, 20 years ago, but it was to live on the floor of wisdom while you look for that window of revelation. Okay? We need to live on the floor of wisdom. Heartache, one of my heartaches was actually when my parents split up. They split up, I want to say it was probably 25 years ago, but it really kind of like rocked my foundation. So it just, it caused me to go through a lot of thought process. Highlight of my life, when my firstborn son came into this earth to be able to become a dad, just opened up a new side of me that I didn't even know was there. So that's my highlight. And a hope, I bet you a lot of you guys have the same hope, but my hope is that my kids end up healthier and happier and safer and that I can take what I've learned and transfer it to them in a way where they can be in a better spot. So, and I share that. By the way, somebody shared this with me, those 5 H's. If you ever want to use those for getting to know somebody in conversation, take a screenshot or write them down, because it's a really good way to get some quick insight into somebody and get to know them a little bit. You guys probably feel like you know me a little better simply by 90 seconds of sharing those 5 H's. Heritage, hero, heartache, highlight, and hope. Okay, so let's get practical here for a second. If you're going to go somewhere in life, what's the very first thing you need to do? You need to know where you are, right? If you're going to get in the GPS, what do you do first? Where are you? You have to know where you are, and you have to know where you're going. Those are the 2 things, okay? So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and this was even discussed earlier, but some of the things that I think we are all trying to figure out as men, and it's an ongoing, never-changing conversation, is who are you? Who are you, okay? Specifically, what is unique about you that's different from everybody else? What do you want? Why do you want that? Okay, why are you here? Where do you want to go? It's a lifelong journey to figure these things out. I don't know that any of us ever can completely figure this out, but I think that there is a path and a process to be able to uncover this over time. And guys, I'm telling you, I don't want anything shorter than God's A-plus plan for my life in any area, okay? So that's my question for you, is what is God's A-plus plan for your life? Do you know what that is? Well, I'm telling you, it will highly likely be specific to you based on your natural gifts and strengths and talents, the things that you love. And here's a question to think about. If you were given $50 million and your charge was to take that and for the betterment of humanity, and you had to take your time and this $50 million trust account, and you had to then be a steward of that, what would you do? Each of you right now is getting something that comes to mind that would be at the top of the list that, like, I have a heart for X. I would serve this person. I see this need here. Guys, I'm telling you, part of your journey and your calling is to do that and to figure out how to weave that into your life. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, effed up. It's not the F word you're thinking of. What's effed up mean? Where are you fed up in life and where are you fired up? Okay? I'm going to talk about what I think are 3 of arguably the most powerful words in the English language. I am responsible. Okay? Guys, I say this every single morning. I have this routine that I go through, and I'm going to share that routine with you in a minute. But part of my process in the morning is I will say out loud, I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible. 3 times. Okay? Also say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Why am I saying I am responsible? It is so easy in this day and age. I don't know why, but there's this group think that's conditioned so many people to be victims. Okay? We're not victims. Guys, do you realize that we live in the greatest time in history, the greatest country, more opportunity? I met a guy that came here from Cuba when he was 9 years old, okay, just last week, telling me what he's been through. Anything we want to do, we can do. But somehow there's this victim mentality that pervades. And so what I want to do is I don't ever want to become captive to that. So if I say out loud, I'm responsible, what starts to happen? Immediately now, I go inside and I have to start thinking, I got to figure it out. I'm going to find a way, okay? I'm going to think about it. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to have a guide, maybe. I'm going to get advice. So I bring these things up because as men, we are responsible. But I think we need to remind ourselves of that every single day in order to lead your family, in order to lead your business. Okay, so actually, before I go here, how many people exist on this planet today? Did you all see it? Dang it. How many people have ever existed on the face of this earth according to recorded history as we know it? 115 billion. Okay? Now, why am I saying this? Here's the crazy part. The possibilities of one human soul will never be found in another. Like, let that sink in. 8 billion people, 8.2, 110, 115 billion people, the possibilities of one human soul will never be found in another. Les Brown's a speaker I heard years ago, and he had one saying that just rocked my world. He said, you know what? Most people are born unique, but they die as clones. Most people, actually, we are all born unique, but most people die as clones. Next one, same line of thought. Most people die at 25, but they're not buried until age 80. Why? What happens to us, guys? We grow up, we have these hopes, these dreams, we're inspired, we're fired up, we want to do great things. And what happens? I don't know. You get a gut punch and you realize, shoot, maybe I'm a victim. Guys, we're not. If you look at the number of people on this planet that would want to trade places with you in any second, they would do it in a heartbeat. Of the 8.2 billion, I would argue the 8.1 billion and way up there on your worst day would be their best day. Okay? But somehow we get this victim mentality that exists. All right. Let's get into this conversation right here. How much is 1% of your day? Anybody know? Don't look it up. 1% of your day. How much is it? 15 minutes. 14 minutes and 27 seconds, I think it is. 1% of our day is 15 minutes. Why am I telling you this? If I can't take 1% of my day in order to do the things that are important to me, that are going to set the framework and pave the way for my future, not just for me, but for my family and future generations, I'm telling you, like, that is a victim mentality, okay? So 1% of your day. I had a mentor of mine tell me something really profound. He said, if you want to go big, you have to aim small. Well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want to aim small. I want to aim big. What does that mean? Well, can you eat 7 apples on a Sunday and have it have the same effect if you eat an apple a day? No. Can you eat 30 apples once a month? I'm a recovering weekend warrior. I used to kind of do nothing through the week and then this monster things on the weekend. It's not the same, guys. It's not the same. So here's my thought process. And this is something I tell my kids, is you can discipline yourself or others will discipline you, okay? Jim Rohn says it this way. He says, see if I can remember it the right way. We must all suffer one of 2 pains in life, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the difference is that discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs tons, okay? Now, I'm saying this in relation to 1% of our day being 15 minutes. Do you guys know the book Atomic Habits by James Clear? If any of you guys read that book or familiar with it? One of the best books I've ever read. If you want to change your life, I would put this on the short list of books to read. James Clear, Atomic Habits. James Clear says something really interesting. He says, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. Okay? We do not rise to the level of our goal, we fall to the level of our systems. And I have this picture of dominoes here because it's kind of interesting. If you take one domino, do you know what that domino, if it falls, how big the next domino is it can knock over? Anyone know? Like if you take get the kinetic energy transfer from one to the other, it's roughly 50% bigger. Okay? And so then this domino can knock over something roughly 50% bigger, and then 50% bigger. And why am I saying this? Guys, I'm saying this for a reason, because I'm going to walk in the last roughly 10 minutes I want to walk into a fairly simple formula that has been invaluable for me personally and professionally, to be able to build a business and also have a really good relationship with my kids, which is deeply important. I'm going to share that in a minute. Okay, this is if you guys can see on the screen, old me is the version of the guy trying to reach the ladder, and I just that's my goal. And I saw this picture, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Look at the smaller steps. So what's the formula? This is a formula for men that will protect you from you. The core 4 is what it's called. Okay, and another one called the General's Tent that I won't talk about today, but this is my formula. 4 different areas of life, okay, the foundation. And you guys might have heard this. There's a couple of different programs that I've been through over the years, and I put these into 4 different buckets and make sure that I'm super intentional every single day in these 4 buckets, okay? The foundation, body, being, balance, and business, okay? Or you can look at it as fitness, faith, family, and finance. Those 4 right here, almost think of it like a foundation of a house and 4 cornerstones right here. And let's talk about them specifically now. Okay, the core 4. What's core 4? Body. I'll use the body being balanced business side. Body is fitness and fuel. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the 1% of the day in each of these different areas. That's my formula. Not mine personally, but something I've incorporated. All these things, you guys know, I mean, this is out of Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay, so everything I've talked about, I've read or heard or figured out from somebody else. I've just taken it to apply it to my life specifically. So take any or all of this that you like. Body, fitness, and fuel. So every single day, part of my process is I'm going to, no matter what, exercise for at least 15 minutes. That's it. That's my rule. I can do more. I do. But you know what? No matter what, I will not miss. Why? I am cheating my future self and people that rely on me if I do not take care of my health. 1%, 15 minutes, okay? Fitness and fuel. So what do? I want to start the day, even before my coffee, you know what I have? A green drink. Like no sugar, concentrated green drink in the refrigerator. I open the door, take a big swig, right? Drink it down, put it back. I'm starting my day now, putting something healthy in my body, getting nutrition, pick whatever it is you want, but this is my system, and then I exercise at least 15 minutes. It's usually more, but sometimes it's busy, okay? But I can find 1% of my day. What's being? Being prayer, meditation, revelation. So what do? I take 15 minutes to do what? Pray, talk to God a little bit, sit in silence. I sit in silence for roughly 10 minutes and go through the box breathing, and then what do? I journal. It's only 15 minutes. But you know what it does? If I ever miss this in the morning, and I'll make it up later in the day, my head is just not right through the entire day if I don't do this. Okay? So for me, my system's simple. I use the Calm app. If you guys have ever heard of the Calm app, download that, and I put on like the Bose headphones. I can be anywhere. I can be at Starbucks. I can be at the airport. Doesn't matter. Right? Put in my headphones, and for 15 minutes, I go through something called box breathing, or for 10 minutes. Box breathing. What's box breathing? Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold that for 4 seconds. And what does that do? It slowly starts to change your physiology in a way where you can just think and see clearly. It is one of the best kept secrets right there. Navy SEALs do this. Why? They need to, under intense pressure, be able to clear their mind. Okay, so they'll go through the box breathing exercise. And there's a few different variations of it. But for me, I like to keep things super simple. I'm going to pray for a few minutes. I'm going to sit in silence. And then you know what I do? Whatever comes to my mind, I write it in my journal. And I keep this with me everywhere. And it's really simple. Sometimes it's a to-do list, guys. It's not like I have these revelations every day. Sometimes it's just, you know what? I need to, talk to my kids about whatever, or I've got this client I need to reach out to. Doesn't matter. But every now and then, and guys, this happens more and more often the more I do it, as I'm sitting there, I'll hear, you know what? You need to reach out to this gentleman named Jeff. This just happened this week. Okay, I reached out to Jeff. I didn't know why, and I knew I needed to tell him about something. Didn't know why, and I did. And it was a game-changing conversation for him. And I would have missed that opportunity if I didn't sit in silence just for 10 minutes. And it's not, sometimes it's 5, guys. It's not like a perfect discipline, but the point is I don't miss. And I think for us as men, it's one of these things that we need to do is like, what are our commitments? What are our non-negotiables in life that are going to protect us and allow us to be better men? Okay, next, balance. So balance is investing in myself and my wife and my kids. What am I going to do that will be thoughtful to take care of me, the self-care, okay, that we heard about, and then also that I can do something thoughtful for my wife and something thoughtful for my kids. So for me, usually I'll go hiking in the morning. I hike up Horse Thief Canyon in San Dimas. Okay, it's probably 30 minutes up to the top and bottom. It's, you get a sweat because it's super steep, but I can get it done quickly. And when I'm there, let's see if I have a video. Let's see. Hannah, my daughter is at the University of Oregon, and so I know you guys can't see this, but I'll just. Morning, Hannah. How are you? Just want to tell you I love you. You said you're on the cusp of winning, which I thought was really cool. And I have no doubt you will. Check out the view this morning. Pretty nice. The sun's about to come up. Just want to tell you I love you. Have an amazing day. And I think I'm going to get to see you kind of soon. Let's talk about that. All right. Love you. Bye. So guys, this takes me 20 seconds, but do you think my daughter feels loved? So, and this isn't, I don't do every single day for like each of my kids, but throughout the week. But the point is balance. Every day now I need to think about who in my family am I going to reach out to and do something meaningful and thoughtful for. Okay? So, and then the next one is called business, and that's discover and declare. So, discover and declare. This is my formula for being able to make sure that my business always grows and I can withstand economic storms that come through. It's two parts, okay? Discover and declare. First, discover. I'm going to read something new about my craft and learn something new every single day. Have any of you guys ever done that program 75 Hard? Any 75 Hard folks? Okay. So I've done that. I've done that program. They have something really cool that you have to do as part of the process, which is read 10 pages. Same thing. So every single day, it's kind of like read 10 pages about something that is relevant to my business that will help me build my business empire. And then you know what I do after that? Declare, I have to tell somebody else what I learned. I have to teach somebody. So I teach at my company, right? Or I'll do a presentation or whatever it is. And on the weekends, because I don't work weekends or rarely, I'll teach my kids. What did I learn in business? I'm going to teach my kids. So it's only a 5-minute lesson. So Luke, I've got 4 kids. In fact, I'll jump through this real quick. In fact, I'll get to this in a second. I've got 4 kids, and I'm going to stop on this slide for a minute. Four kids. My oldest is 24. He's in Idaho. He is married about 1.5 years, and I have a new chapter of my life coming. I'm going to get to be a grandpa in about 2 months. So it hasn't fully hit me yet, but I talked to a few of the guys this morning, and I know this new chapter is going to unfold, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And then my daughter Hannah, senior University of Oregon, my son Luke, who is a sophomore at Biola, and then my son Caleb is a senior at Western Christian, and he's a pilot. We're getting our pilot's license together, so he's a student pilot as well. He's a little bit ahead of me, but I think I'm going to catch him. So we're competitive. So, but the balance side, why am I sharing this? If you can see in the middle of the slide, I think for our kids, and I remember hearing a speaker talk about how he was doing all these presentations, around the world, and he was showing the kids the calendar of where he's going to be. And you know what the kids said to him? They said, "Where are we on the calendar?" That's all they cared about. Where are we on the calendar? Okay? So my point for bringing this up is I think the more that we can live with intention in the 4 different areas, body, being, balance, and business, with intention, guess what? We start to build out a foundation that gets stronger and thicker and stronger. And then next thing you know, you can build on it. Why? Because the foundation is strong. I have periods in my life where I built, but my foundation wasn't strong. It came crashing down. So as I start to wrap up, business, discover and declare. Learn something new, share it with somebody else. Okay? And over time, you become a thought leader when you are always sharing something of meaning with intention, with whatever your respective business is. Okay? It's the difference between working in the business versus on the business. And hiring practice, I'll just share this since it's here, but the things that I look for to hire and fire: character, competency, compassion. Are they coachable? Are they courage? And do we have chemistry? So those of you guys that are entrepreneurs, if you like that formula, you're welcome to use it. So guys, I'm going to end here because I think that this right here is a formula that can protect us from us. And I'm telling you, like this right here, by taking 1% of my day in each of these different areas, this core 4, it allows me to basically, it's rare that I get home runs. But you know what? I'm going to get a single and I'm going to get a single, and I'm going to get a single, and I'm going to get a single in each area. And for wherever you are, some of you guys, you're killing it in one area and not so much in the other. What I would encourage you to do is, I'll go to this slide and I'll show you the picture of my running shoes. When I was doing the Ironman, I didn't like to run. So the very first thing I did each day, I had my shoes right by my bed, and the only thing I worried about was getting my running shoes on and walking to the front door. And that was the first domino. You saw those dominoes before? That was the first domino, okay? And then I would go walk around the block, and then I would feel it, and then I would run. Why am I sharing that? We did the Miyagi's. Just have that be the first domino, okay? If you need a first domino in any area of your life, figure out what it is. It could be 90 seconds. Don't even worry about 15 minutes. Just start somewhere and watch what happens to your life over time. Thank you, guys.